Before we begin with the actual video, I just want to make a quick announcement regarding my Patreon. For $5 and $10 Patreons, there is now a new benefit. If you support me for $5 or $10, you can have your name put in the credits at the end of each video, which I've already done for this video as well as the previous video. So just letting you guys know that if you support me for $5 or $10 on Patreon, you will get the name in the credits. So anyway, on with the video. Hello, this is Billy Core from the Nostalgia Mall, and today we are going to be building myself a Windows XP computer. And what are the parts that are going to be used in this computer? Well, let's take a look. First, on top of this box, we have a Seasonic power supply, a modular one. This is a 560 watt, I believe. So that should be sufficient. Got two hard drives. We got a 250 gig Seagate and a 500 gig Western Digital. One on the left is going to be for the OS and software. One on the right is going to be for files and data. Of course, you got to have an optical drive. This is a DVD-RW drive, SATA based. An NVIDIA GeForce GT620 video card. I know this is probably going to be a controversial choice, but you know what? I've used this in my previous Windows XP system, the Dell Inspiron 518, which this system is replacing, and it plays every game I throw at it perfectly, so I'll be glad to use it. We're going to be using this Sound Blaster X5 sound card. This came out of my aunt's old Dell XPS 720. I've been using this in my previous XP build, and it's been working great. Why not a card reader? I'll go ahead and throw one of these in here. This is in a 5 1/4 inch bracket. And our CPU is going to be this Core 2 Quad Q9550, clocked at 2.83 gigahertz. I was using this in my previous XP system, and this is a really good chip. I wish I'd had this chip back in like 2009, 2010. That would have been really nice. And to cool it, we have this brand spanking new Dynatron cooler that was recommended to me by my good friend Elmol3. This is supposedly a really good cooler. Hopefully it won't be too difficult to install. Four gigabytes of DDR2 memory. I'll of course be using only 3 gigs of it because I'll be using a 32-bit operating system, but I might as well put 4 gigs in it anyway. I got some SATA cables that we'll need. And the motherboard, finally got to it. This is a Intel DQ45CB. It's a micro ATX motherboard. Socket 775. I picked this up off eBay a couple of months ago. I haven't used it yet, but it only cost me like 20 bucks or so. So this was a really good deal. In fact, I think there are still some available if you want one. So supposedly this is a pretty good motherboard. And here's the I/O. Unfortunately, it's legacy free, and I also realized that it doesn't have a VGA connector on there, so I'm going to have to find my adapter for DVI, because I'll be using this with VGA. So no PS2 ports, unfortunately. It does have onboard audio, but we won't be using that. And why did I even mention the connectors on here? I'm using the GT620. It has its own VGA connector, so forget what I just said. So, for the case, we are going to be using this sharp-looking little fractal design case. This is a Core 1100. I know I pronounced that wrong. This is a micro ATX case. It's not too fancy looking, but still classy enough for my taste. This is brand new, just got it in from Newegg today. So this should be nice and suitable. So yeah, of course we won't be using the USB 3.0 connector there, but I could probably adapt that, but I don't have an adapter at the moment. So I think first thing we need to do is get the CPU and cooler on. That's going to be the hardest part, so let's go ahead and just get that out of the way, shall we? Okay, I'll go ahead and install the CPU. Installing into these LGA sockets always makes me so nervous because of these pins. Damage even one of these pins and you are probably going to be in for a very bad day. I've done it before. It's not fun. So oh, there we go. Get some of that dust off of there. This is not a how-to video. This is just a video for you to just watch me tinker with stuff and laugh at me at the same time. So here's our CPU. Get you another close look up at it. And so let's get it keyed properly. I believe it goes like this. Put it in gently. There we go. And we're in. And I believe the cooler has a syringe of thermal paste in it, which is good because the thermal paste I've been using for I don't know how long is finally empty. So okay, I'm not looking forward to this. I doubt it'll be any more difficult than a Hyper 212 Evo. Those things are evil to put on. Okay, I just wanted to show briefly the instructions for installing this on a 775 socket. Look at that. Opposite down motherboard and sticky the 775 backplate onto it. So we have to opposite it and sticky the backplate. Such good grammar, guys. Such good grammar. Okay, I guess this just stays in place when you screw the fan in, because there's really no way to adhese it to the back other than just putting it in place like so, and just keeping it in place while I screw the fan in. There we go. I don't know if this is going to work or not. I'm probably doing something wrong. Let's see. I've got to check the instructions again just to be sure. Okay, I guess we're just going to go for it. Go ahead and put some thermal paste on. Just a little dab will do ya. There we go. That should be good. I know there are many schools of thought on how to apply thermal paste. That's just how I do it. I just let it spread out when I put the cooler on, which we will do right now. I hope I'm doing this right. Okay. And then we'll just attach these little springy looking screws. Okay. And put them all the way back here. Okay. And we'll just screw them in. Okay, I guess that's on there. Go ahead and plug the fan into the board and do that so it don't get caught on anything. Yeah, it feels secure to me. There's the back of it. Hold on, I'm getting a phone call. Okay, next we'll add the memory. Well, we still got the board out of the case. These are two 2 gig modules of DDR2. Is that backwards, I wonder? It's just being stubborn. Go. Okay, that ought to be sufficient. Okay, now the fun begins. Now we get to add everything to the case. So we'll go ahead and unscrew up these thumb screws. My arm's in the way, I apologize. There we go. Okay, looks like there's a box of parts right here, so we'll undo that. There we go. Put that over there for later. First things first, let's get this out of the way. Let's go ahead and add our hand slicer, I/O shield. Sometimes this is easy, sometimes not. In that case, it was easy. There we go. It's a very, very light case. Okay, I did the front panel connections and the other tiny little connections off camera. So now I've already got the motherboard in and the power supply in. You can't see the power supply right now, but we're going to go ahead and add the expansion slots, and then after that we'll work on the drives. Now, okay, that's going to take this bracket out, and first we're going to add the video card. These screws are in tight. It's probably a good thing. It's kind of an interesting design choice here. The case is black, but the expansion brackets are white. That's a nice little contrast design there, I must say. But we'll go ahead and put our video card in. Don't know what the onboard video is on here. Probably some kind of Intel HD graphics. Not very good, probably, so it's a good thing we're adding this card. And we'll go ahead and put the screw back in. Little thumb screw. I'm having to do it from a weird angle because of the camera. And now to add the sound card. Only thing about this is that we're not going to be able to use the front panel audio on here. This sound card doesn't have a connection for it because this came out of a Dell and it uses that crazy Dell front panel connector. So that's a bit annoying, but oh well. Sometimes you got to make a sacrifice or two. This is going to go on the very bottom. Go. Okay, got screwed in. Those are the only two expansion cords we're adding for right now. And that's what it looks like on the back. Okay, we need to take both of these 5 1/4 inch blanks out. And reach my hand back here. One, and that's two. And it has this stupid metal thing we got to remove. I don't know why cases have to do this. Had them worse than that. First we'll add the card reader, which will go on the bottom. Okay. Cable's not going to go that way, so we'll do it this way. I know you can't see it. Okay. Find some screws to put in there. Okay, I went on ahead and did the rest of this off camera. It's just so hard to build a computer and try to get the camera positioned properly at the same time, so I apologize for that. I had a pretty rough time getting these hard drives in because the front case fan back here is literally pushing right up against these drives, and I had to move the fan just a little bit for the drives to fit. It was a real pain. So anyway, I guess we're ready to test it. I've already got the connections hooked up. Let me just switch the power strip on. Okay, it powered on automatically. I'm looking at the monitor for a screen, and it just switched itself back off. So I just turned it back on with the actual switch. Wouldn't surprise me if I don't have the RAM in properly. Oh, here we are, here we are. You just gotta have patience. So we'll go ahead and boot into the BIOS. It's wanting another fan in here. It was expecting another fan in this system, but this case only came with one fan in the front. So hopefully it'll be forgiving. It's a very tight fit for everything in this little case. So that's why I'm kind of glad I have a beefy CPU fan in it. But anyway, you can see here, Core 2 Quad, Q9550, 4 gigs of RAM. The time and date is almost correct. The date's correct, but the time is about 10 minutes slow. There we go. No big deal. See if it's seeing everything. Yep, everything's being picked up. Configure SATA as AHCI, because thanks to Easy to Boot, we can install Windows XP with AHCI support. So that is very nice. Fan control, disable whatever that is. Maybe that'll keep it quiet until I can get a fan to put in the back. So there's a plethora of settings here. So everything looks good there. Chipset looks good. I really can't think of anything that we need to adjust here. Well, we do need to turn off onboard audio. And we'll turn off the serial port just because I don't have a serial connection to put into the header on the motherboard at the moment. Okay. We'll enable that. So yeah, everything looks good to me. So yeah, I think we're ready to button it up. Do a little bit of cable management. There's really not much I can do with this little case, but I'll do what I can. And then we can hook it up in its new home. It's a very, very high-pitched PC speaker. And it's probably going to boot into the XP install I had on the Inspiron 518. And it's probably going to blue screen. Yep, there's the blue screen. We'll be reinstalling that anyway in a moment, so I'll catch you over there in its new home. Okay, I'm in the BIOS again. I just had to adjust something. But the computer is in its regular home now. And I think it's F11 to get to the boot menu. I've already got the flash drive plugged in. Again, I'm having to record from an odd angle. Okay, it's F10 for boot menu. Hope I got it in time. Okay. There we go, Kingston Data Traveler, that's it. And here we go. I've shown this before on my channel, how to install XP from an easy-to-boot flash drive, but just to refresh your memory, this allows you to install any version of Windows XP, not only from a flash drive, but it also has built-in drivers for AHCI support right out of the box, so you don't have to worry about having to switch to legacy mode to install XP, or have to hunt down SATA drivers and put them on a floppy disk. That's kind of annoying, but this makes things a bit easier. And I'm going to go with number 5. This has the unofficial Service Pack 4 built in. And tell it yes to auto-detect the AHCI drivers, and it has successfully done that. And it's going to load XP into memory, even though I didn't really want it to do that. But we'll go ahead and let it do that. We just have to remember to unplug the flash drive as soon as XP setup starts. Okay, we're going into XP setup now, and I unplugged the flash drive. The reason for that is because when we get to the partitioning portion of setup, XP is going to see this as a C drive, and we don't want to install XP to this. So we'll set that aside for now. We'll need it again in a few moments, but not right now. Notice how quick XP setup starts loading from memory like that compared to a CD. Okay, we got our two hard drives right here. That's the OS drive and the file drive, and down there is apparently the card reader. So we'll go ahead and delete our old XP install from our old Dell. There we go. And we'll use NTFS and do a quick format just to make things a little bit quicker, because this is a 250 gig hard drive. If we did a full format, we'd be here all day, if not longer. So it's going to examine the disk, and it's going to copy the files over. Okay, it's going to restart, and I'm going to go ahead and plug the flash drive back in because we need to go back into Easy to Boot. Not sure if my hard drive LED is working or not. If not, no big deal. I'll just open it back up and flip the connector around. That is a very irritating beep. Okay, go back down to the data traveler. Okay, waiting for this to load back up. Okay, let's go back to XP, and this time we want to do install XP Step 2 for 512 meg and up systems. And this is for Phase 2, and we want number 5. Okay, and now it's going to boot into the GUI part of setup that we all know and love. So get ready for an exciting new look. I know this setup by heart now. Here it comes. An exciting new look. You know, it's interesting. When I first started making actual videos on my YouTube channel, I was still using XP as a daily driver. That was a long time ago, and look where we are now. Now it's a nostalgic OS. I still find that hard to believe, but I've gone through that rant many times before, and I won't let you go through it again. Okay, we've run into a very show-stopping and bizarre problem. It's acting like there's no disk in the drive. I don't know if it's talking about the RAM disk with the install info or the actual hard drive, but it's acting like something's been unplugged. And it's not. And the keyboard's not registering, the mouse is not doing anything at all. The system died. I don't know what the problem is. And this computer doesn't have a reset button either. So all we can do is just start over again and hope for the best. Okay, I was able to fix it with not too much trouble. I just installed it completely from the flash drive and not have it create a RAM drive or anything. So all I can say is if you're using Easy to Boot to install Windows XP, if one option doesn't work, just try the other. You'll get there eventually. So I'll go ahead and put my information in, and I'll catch you on the other end. Okay, XP setup is pretty much done. Just rebooting one last time. There's that XP splash screen we all know and love. Before Service Pack 2 it would say Home Edition or Professional, but then once Service Pack 2 came around, they got rid of the editions during the startup screen. At least our mouse works. Oh, I know this screen oh too well. I've been installing Windows XP since the first time I reformatted my Dell Dimension 2350 in 2005. And I know all this stuff by heart now. But At least we finally made it despite that error. And since we don't have a sound driver, we don't get to hear the cheerful XP out-of-box music. That's unfortunate. Put my name in. Okay. Welcome to Windows XP. And yes, we do want to remove that Fire Disk driver, because if you don't, it can result in Windows blue screen. So we can go ahead and unplug the drive. And now I got to install drivers, and to do that I will be using Snappy Driver Installer. This time I plugged the flash drive up to the USB port in the card reader just to see if that's working, and apparently it does. Okay, got it copied to the desktop, so let's go ahead and load it. We want 32-bit version. And for the most part, this has the required network drivers, so we'll go ahead and install that. That way we can download the rest of the drivers with Snappy Driver Installer. And I usually close it and open it back up just to make things a bit cleaner. And presumably the network card is ready to go now. Let's just double check. And it is. Okay, usually it wants to download the index. I don't know why it's not. There we go. And it's best to download the index because sometimes it doesn't work right without it. Now it's going to want to install the sound card drivers, but I'm not going to let it because the sound card drivers it likes to get for this XFi card do not work properly. So instead I'm going to use the original install disk for this sound card. So that way everything will be nice and legal. I don't know why I said legal, but anyway, we'll go ahead and check all this except for the sound card. We'll go with the high definition audio for the NVIDIA card and the video card reader. Yeah, we'll go with that. Just pretty much go with everything except the sound card. I don't know why it's seeing a Wacom device. But we'll let it install. It might be the mouse. It might be seeing it as a Wacom, even though it's a Microsoft mouse. Okay, so first it's going to have to download, and then it will install. So this may take a while. Okay, everything but the sound card driver is installed. You can tell from the higher resolution we have now. And I should not have installed that Wacom driver because it broke my mouse. Could not get it to move at all, so I had to navigate to the device manager through my keyboard and uninstall the driver, and now it's working fine. So now we'll go ahead and install our sound card driver. And I'm actually installing it from the flash drive instead. I just copied it over. Make things a bit easier. I speak English. I'll skip media source. I'm not even sure what that is. It's probably junk. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, we'll install all that. And it's a 2-speaker setup, although it's on a sound bar. And so we'll let it do its thing. Okay, apparently it's done installing. Ooh, I just heard a sound. So yeah, we'll go ahead and restart. That means it works. Okay, I didn't hit the record button fast enough to get the startup sound, but I think we've got a successful build here, folks. Okay, it wants to do a speaker connection wizard. Yeah, it's an analog 2.1, well, 2 speakers at least. So yeah, close out of all that. I don't need that. What? Okay, I get it, creative. You're awesome. You don't have to throw it in my face all the time. Anyway, everything's working great. Just unplug my flash drive there. We go 2.83 gigahertz, 2.99 gigs of RAM. And no exclamation marks in Device Manager. That's what we want to see. Everything's looking great. So now I will go ahead and install all my software and games. I'll do that after this video is done. This mouse keeps dying on me. It needs a new battery, but anyway, I will do all that off camera, and we'll take a closer look at what this computer is capable of in a future video. So until next time, this is Billy Core, signing off. Thank you for visiting the Nostalgia Mall. If you liked what you saw, please like, subscribe, and follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You may also support me on Patreon if you would like. Until next time, this is Billy Core, signing off.